Welcome back to the channel. This week marks 2 years since we left the United States.
We are currently living in Italy, the Tuscan region, and it's a very different experience from living in Texas. We left in 2021 and started our journey in Mexico, where we stayed for 7 months before coming to Italy.
We want to share the main general reasons why we left. So let's start with safety. When we walked the Camino de Santiago, we hiked the entire north part of the country, from border to coast, and we never felt unsafe.
We talked about how we couldn't do this in the United States because it's really not conducive to walk across the United States. Not only that, there's a possibility of violence or being a victim of crime that you don't really find here in Europe, but more so in the United States.
Here in Italy, we walk late at night and we feel safe. There is something to say about living in a place where there is no gang culture. Yes, crime happens in every corner of the planet, but knowing that disagreements don't lead to people getting shot gives you a peace of mind.
When we lived in Mexico, it was the same. We felt pretty safe walking around. You hear in the news how dangerous Mexico can be, but we didn't find that.
Just to put it in perspective, today is August 3rd, and it is the 214th day of the year, and so far over 117 people have been killed by guns in the US every day since the year started. It is sad, but it is a reality, and we wanted to make a change from that. Let's go to the reason number 2, financial.
In the US, you think that Europe is very expensive. In all actuality, it's not that expensive compared to the United States.
It can be expensive if you come on vacation and stay in a hotel, eating out every day and visiting places where you need to pay an entrance fee for everything. Now, the reality is we spend less here than we did in Texas, where we used to live.
Yes, much less than what we spend in the United States.
And the only way to retire was to leave the US because of the cost of living.
Yes, if we were still in the United States, I would be working.
The only way for us to live was to sell everything and have no debt, of course. We left the US with 4 suitcases each and started over when we arrived.
And we cut out a big expense, the car. In Europe, you really don't need a car. In most places, we use public transportation, the train, the bus. And then really, most of the time, we walk or ride our bicycles if we got something to do or errands to run.
Now, to be honest, a couple of times we did rent a car because we needed to go to certain places where there was no way to get there via public transport.
Another benefit of living in Europe when it comes to cost is healthcare. Healthcare here is extremely affordable.
In our case, we are covered under the public health system in Italy, and so far it has been great.
Another expense that seems to be less here in Europe is food. Groceries, we spend about 100 euros a week. We come home with quite a bit of groceries each time we go to the store. Unlike the United States, where $100 gets you, if you're lucky, 2 bags of groceries.
Let's move on to our reason number 3, quality of life. Tied with financial and safety is quality of life, of course.
There's a different work-life balance here that you just don't have in the United States. Here, meal is a moment to pause and to enjoy time with friends and family. Unlike the United States, where you're just rushing through your meal to move on to something else. Here, you literally work to live, and not like in the United States, where you live to work.
With that, let's move on to reason number 4, which is experiences and adventures.
Europe is rich with history, and everything is pretty close together. If you take a 1.5-hour plane ride, you're in a different country, experiencing different languages, different cultures, different food.
Also, flying within the US from state to state can cost you, $300 for a plane ticket. Here, you can fly from one country to the next for maybe 100 euros tops.
Yeah, and you can find deals. We've gotten deals 30 euros a piece to fly someplace.
Of course, you have your time of year where things could be a little bit more expensive, but generally it's pretty affordable to fly within countries in the European Union. Also, everyday experiences become adventures when you live outside of your native country. Example, going to the grocery store or paying bills, and especially if you don't speak the language. That's a total different adventure altogether.
It is, and also negotiating transit. just getting on a train and going someplace.
Now, of course, we have to talk about trade-offs, okay? The first one is convenience. There is no doubt that the US is a country built to provide convenience. Anything you want, you can get 24/7. You don't even have to get out of your car to buy something or pick up something.
Yeah, and also the selections. When you go to a grocery store in the United States and you go to, say, buy ketchup, you might have 30 choices of ketchup. Here you just might have 4 or 5. So there is a trade-off in that aspect. Same with Amazon. And when you shop for a pair of shoes in Amazon, you have thousands and thousands of selection. Here you might not have as much to select from, but you still have a selection.
Also, when it comes to, for example, the weather. In the US, we go from the AC or heating of our home to the AC or heating in our store or work. In Europe, you will have places where there is no AC at all. And it could be, it could not be really good in the summer.
When it comes to the weather, it's not always perfect, but you just have to take that in consideration when you plan your day. It just requires a little bit more planning when you don't have a car, and you can almost guarantee there's not going to be AC where you're going to.
Exactly. So you learn to deal with it because the other benefits outweigh these inconveniences.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Customer service is very different in Europe. In the US, it's about making the sale. Here, it's more like take it or leave it.
I heard someone once say, in the United States, the customer's always right. Not so much here in Europe. And I would say that's pretty true. It's more take it or leave it. Which can be rewarding because when you go into a store, it isn't like you're being pressured to buy things.
Now, paying taxes. When it comes to taxes, the US is one of the 2 countries that tax its citizens no matter where we live. We have to file taxes in the US. Now, taxes in Europe are complicated, and we're not going to get into specifics because we don't want to give the wrong information, but there are different treaties and reciprocity agreements that apply to each specific case. With that, let's talk about bureaucracy.
Yes, it does exist here in Europe.
It's a painful reality. Now, doing any type of official business will take a long time by US standards because there is no rush to complete things, which brings us to the slower pace. That could be a bad thing for official businesses and paperwork. And just to give you an example, it took us 30 days to change the name on services in our apartment where we live.
Just when you're planning your routine, when you're planning the things that you need to get done, take that into consideration. That's going to take more time, and just embrace it and relax.
So a slower pace of life is great for most things except for official businesses. Overall, these are the reasons and trade-off for us living in the US.
And we think it's worth it. We think that the negatives definitely are outweighed by the positives.
Now let us know what you think and maybe share in the comments your experiences. And thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.